Hi everyone, welcome to the Frugal Rules YouTube channel. I'm Nicole.
And I'm John.
And we're glad you're here. We are a news-watching family. When we're driving, after dinner, we always have the news on. We feel strongly about being informed so that we can make the best possible decisions for our family. Plus, it leads to interesting dinner conversations around the table. Our kids ask us about events of the day, and with what an eventful time it is in America right now and around the world, we are watching more news than ever.
Nicole, I got my undergraduate degree in history from Kansas State University, and I can affirm what I'm sure you already know to be true. We are truly living in historic times. It makes me wonder what else 2020 is going to throw at us next.
Right? Well, one of the things we could see happen very soon is a second stimulus check from the government.
That's right, and what we're discussing in this video today is the HEROES Act that was recently passed by the House of Representatives. There's a lot in this massive $3 trillion spending bill, but we're going to focus on 5 things that we know matter most to you, our viewers. Before we dive into the details, I do want to be upfront that unfortunately it is unlikely that the Senate is going to pass the HEROES Act, but it is encouraging to see talk of more aid for many of us that have been hit hard by the impact of COVID-19. I really hope that they do pass it, though I don't expect that they will, but I will keep my fingers crossed.
That's right. And you know what? If you feel strongly about this, the best thing you can do is reach out to your senator about it. But if this is passed, there are several things that we can look for in the bill that we want to highlight to you today. The first is a second stimulus check of up to potentially $6,000 per household. There's also the potential extension of unemployment benefits for people out of work because of coronavirus. An extension of the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, is also in there. Student loan debt payment suspensions could be up for October of 2021. That means you wouldn't have to pay on your student loans until then. And then also, there's more money to be set aside for essential workers, people on the front lines, risking their health to keep us safe. At the end of the video, we'll give you a few ideas on the best way to spend your economic impact payment if a second recovery rebate check is indeed approved by our government. And let's hope that that happens. Let's start with the piece of this act that we're most interested in, and you probably are too. The potential to receive up to a $6,000 payment. If this bill is passed by the Senate and signed by the President, you could receive a stimulus check payment of up to $6,000. That's right. You heard us correctly, $6,000. I know a lot of us could really use that money right now on a variety of things.
So how much will you get? The HEROES Act includes a one-time stimulus check payment, similar to the CARES Act, of up to $6,000. Like the CARES Act, there are some factors that you must meet to get the money. First, if you are an individual, you must make $75,000 a year or less to qualify for the full $1,200 payment. Couples must earn under $150,000. Then the bill would pay $1,200 for each dependent for up to 3 dependents. So let's consider an example. If you're single and have no dependents and meet the income limits, you will receive another $1,200.
But if you're a couple with 3 kids like us, you could get $6,000. That's a lot more than the CARES Act, which gave us our first round of stimulus checks. In that bill, the government gave people $500 per dependent. Also, it capped the age of dependents at 17. The HEROES Act raises that age to 24. The first stimulus checks left out adult children and many immigrants. The HEROES Act is trying to correct that by raising the age of eligible dependents and only requiring a TIN, or tax identification number, to qualify. This will allow more people to benefit from the money than the CARES Act did.
Okay, let's move on to another helpful provision of the HEROES Act, the extension of unemployment benefits. You might remember that the CARES Act provided $600 extra of federal unemployment benefits for people out of work through January 31, 2021. The HEROES Act wants to extend those unemployment benefits for another 3 months through March 31 of 2021. Also, and this is great news for people like us who are gig workers, self-employed, work part-time, the federal unemployment benefits under the HEROES Act will also apply to you too.
Yep. This is really good news, John, because there are many small business owners and independent contractors who are out of work right now, and they're really struggling to make ends meet. But another thing in the HEROES Act that is good news for small businesses is the extension of the PPP program. The PPP, or Paycheck Protection Program, is something that many small and actually large businesses too have been able to take advantage of to keep paying their employees their full salaries, even as work has shut down or they've had to close their doors or just slowed down because of coronavirus. The CARES Act made loans available to small businesses through the SBA that they could use to pay salaries. If they used at least 75% of it for salary, they could apply for the loan to be forgiven and not have to pay that money back. However, businesses had to use the loan money within 8 weeks, and if they didn't, they would likely have to pay the loan back. The HEROES Act realizes that many small businesses need longer than 8 weeks to pay salaries because of quarantine and social distancing rules that required them to close their doors in many states. So, while they had applied for the money and received it, they couldn't use it, and that put them in danger. The HEROES Act eliminates the 75% requirement and gives businesses 24 weeks to spend the loan money. They also have until December 31st to apply for a loan. This is good news for small businesses, which employ many Americans, so let's hope that it passes.
As someone who personally applied for the PPP, I really hope that the HEROES Act passes. Now let's talk about a fourth important provision of the HEROES Act, student loan debt payment extensions. If you have student loan debt, you know the CARES Act suspended interest and payments for most people with federal loans through September 30 of this year. Interest is not accruing right now on those loans, and you don't have to make payments. This has been really helpful for people who are out of work or saw a loss of hours. It gives you money to spend on bills on things that you absolutely need, or make progress on paying down debt if you have it. The HEROES Act takes that student loan forgiveness an extra step further and extends the break in payments for another entire year. If passed, it would mean that if you have any federal student loans, you will not have to make a payment on them until October 1st, 2021. This applies on all federal student loans. Your loans won't accrue interest and you won't have to make payments on them until then. It also is proposing canceling up to $10,000 for some federal and private student loan holders. This could really help out a lot of people make some serious progress on killing that debt. I know personally what living with debt feels like and talk about it in our video on how I paid off $50,000 worth of debt. If you want to hear my story, check out that video.
I remember living through those times. Every tax rebate we got, or every refund that we got, as well as a lot of other disposable income, went to paying off those student loans. So let's move on to our fifth and final important piece of the HEROES Act: more money for essential workers. Essential workers are the nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, and grocery store clerks that are putting their health at risk to take care of us every day. They are real-life heroes, and they are who the bill is actually named for. $200 billion is being set aside in the HEROES Act to help states pay their essential workers an extra $13 per hour on top of what they're already being paid. Now, Congress is still deciding who is an essential worker, but if this hazard pay portion of the HEROES Act becomes law, frontline medical personnel, firefighters, social workers, child care providers, and more could receive a pay bump that could total up to $10,000 if their regular pay is less than $200,000, and up to $5,000 total if they make more than $200,000 a year.
You know, Nicole, that is a really awesome benefit, and we hope that it becomes a reality for our frontline and essential workers, as they're often the ones taking the hardest hit from all of this. It's important to note that while the House has passed the HEROES Act, the Senate hasn't. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said he has no interest in passing it. But the Senate is scheduled to vote on it this month, so we will have to wait and see what happens with it. If it does pass the Senate, It will then go on to President Trump to sign it. A lot can happen between now and that vote, and we want to keep you informed about it. So subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you can be notified when we post an update to the HEROES Act.
Yep. Now, before we let you go, we just want to give you a few really quick ideas on how to spend the potential new stimulus check money wisely. So, here are 3 good things to spend your stimulus money on. The first is to use it to create an emergency fund. Most Americans can't handle a $400 emergency. You know how it goes. You blow out your tire, or suddenly you need a new AC unit, your water heater breaks. You're left with a bill that you don't know how to pay. Without any savings, you could end up charging that bill to a credit card, getting the money from a payday loan lender, which is even worse because it only puts you further into a cycle of debt. Avoid that cycle by using $500 or more of your stimulus money to start an emergency fund.
You know, Nicole, that is an excellent suggestion. Another good use for your stimulus money is to invest it. Do you need or want to make more money? Growing the money you already have through investing is one of the best ways to do it. Even if you are brand new to investing, you can do it with as little as $5 through an app right on your phone like Stash Invest. If you can, start an investment account with $500 and watch it grow.
That's so true. You know, we're getting ready to do that right now with our kids. A third and final way to spend your stimulus money is to pay down debt. We've already touched on this earlier, so I don't need to say too much about it here. But if you want to achieve financial freedom, you will need to get out of debt. Using $500 or more of your stimulus money to knock down debt is a great way to start.
Saving, investing, killing debt, and achieving financial freedom are topics that matter a lot to us. We know they do to you too, or you wouldn't be watching this video. If you want to learn more about any of these topics we've mentioned today, check out the links below to helpful articles on our site, frugalrules.com. Until next time, be well and leave us comments in the comments section. Let us know how you plan on spending your second stimulus check if you receive one. And remember to hit that red subscribe button to be notified of new content.